Hey, this is Kathy Peck, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Wichita Falls, Texas. You can follow me on my blog, tnstamps.blogspot.com, to see all my crafty creations. And today I am making one more Christmas card. I thought last week I made my last Christmas card, but I just had to join another hop today and I wanted to share this one. This is with the Poinsettia dies and the Wonder and Whimsy DSP. I love this paper and I wanted to make a card like this. And this card was inspired by a Pinterest card I saw by Alyssa Tilsner that she did in 2020 using, well, the layout is similar, but hers was different than this. But anyway, here we go. Here's my start. So this one is done with the polished pink. The next one's going to be done with Blushing Bride. Here we go. So to start with, you'll want a piece of DSP, and here I have Blushing Bride DSP, and it's cut 11 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2. And there we go. On the inside, I have a liner that's 4 by 5 1/4, and I added a little 3/4 inch piece of DSP for a little, just to add a little interest on the inside. I always put a liner in my cards. Not everyone does. It's personal preference. You really need them though on the darker cards, like your navy or early espresso or the black. And I like adding this little strip of DSP on there. This is part of that Whimsy and Wonder paper. For my layers, I have a piece of DSP, because these are all DSP layers. This is cut 5 1/4 by 4. This is part of the Whimsy and Wonder, and that's that one. And then this one, our second layer, is 4 1/4 by 3. And then the final layer that I'm going to use is this one, and it is 2 3/4 by 4. So I will get these glued up together, and then we will assemble the flower. I die cut the poinsettias. That's all I needed was the poinsettia dies and a bit of Wink of Stella. So, and you can stamp, if you want to use the Pretty Petals stamp set, you can stamp the poinsettias and then die cut, but I did the die and the embossing. And I'll show you that as soon as I get all this glued up. I did the die and the embossing because I just wanted the shape of the poinsettia with the embossed, what is it, veins in there. Yeah. So here we go. Here's this. This will be posted later today on my blog as part of a blog hop. But here are the dies that I used. I used this big one, and what I've done is I've taped them together to make it easier to die cut, and if I just want the outside, the flower without the veins, it's easy to separate. So I die cut these 3 large ones and one of the small ones, and then I use this for some sprigs right here. And the lettering is from the Playful Alphabet stamp set, or die set. Alright, so this is, so I think I need just a tad, I think it'll be okay. There we go. Alright, let's put this flower together. I'm going to do the Wink of Stella after. I don't want it to interfere with the glue adhering. So if you use a little too much glue, you can pick it up with your finger, which I did right there. All I did was put a dot in the middle and let those layers adhere. Oh, my dog is in there making a bunch of noise. Bulldogs, they're just crazy. Okay, here we go. I'll let that dry for a few seconds. While that's drying, we'll finish the letters. So what I did is I die cut 4 of each letter, J-O-Y, for joy, and then I glued them together. And I glued 3 together, and I'll show you how I did with the last one, how I'm going to do it. I just use my take your pick tool, the gummy end, and I pick it up with the stack that's already glued together, like sitting down, and then I just add a little dots of glue on here. You don't need a lot because you don't want it to squish out. So you just want little random, if you can see the dots of glue, and then I just set one on top of the other, and poof, that's it. And using the Tombow is good because you get a little bit of movement, so you can adjust it if you need to. And sometimes you get a little too much movement. Alright, here's the J. You want to pick it up on the good side, the side that needs to be up. And then just little random dots of glue. Here we go. Pop it on there. Moved a little, but I can shift it back into place. There we go. And lastly, the Y. And now I will add some Wink of Stella to these before we stick them down. I just was really pleased with how this card came out last night when I finished it. I was very happy. So I thought, well, this is one to share. All right, there. Joy is ready for some Wink of Stella. Make sure it's going good. It is. You have to have some flash with the Wonder and Whimsy paper, because that is just such a beautiful paper. It has a lot of bling in it, so I want to make sure that what I put on it is blingy as well. Okay, there, that's ready. Now, before I apply some Wink of Stella, I'm going to just curl these back just a little with my bone folder. I probably should have done this before I glued them together, but sometimes you just don't remember to do that. But this will work as well in a pinch. I just want it to stand up just slightly on the card because I'm going to mount it with a dimensional. And the front piece I'll pull up a little. Poinsettias, they go all directions. And I love the pink ones and the white ones. I mean, you can get poinsettias almost any color nowadays. Okay, so we'll just throw on some Wink of Stella on here. I have a really good crafty friend who she puts Stella on everything. But life needs a little bit of bling. Here we go. So this card is going to be part of an international blog hop hosted by Crafty Collaboration. They host several hops every month, which are fun. And I just like that about Stampin' Up. You meet a lot of folks from all over that you wouldn't have ever met if you hadn't joined Stampin' Up. And so it's real funny because my husband and I are both retired Air Force, and we were stationed in England. And since joining Stampin' Up, I've met a lady who lived not too far from us, who's been a Stampin' Up member for ages. So that was kind of funny. So I can chit chat with her about our time in England, and that was fun. Okay, oops, here we go, dropsies. This is almost done. Now I will say, since I'm using DSP and not cardstock, and DSP at times tends to be flimsy, I'm going to use a piece of that foam backing to mount it on the card. Or else I'd have to use, I'd probably use a whole page of dimensionals, because it's just my OCD. I'm afraid things will get floppy and fall off. Alright, that's done, and now I'm going to stick a little bit of Stampin' Seal on here to connect these little sprigs that I picked up. This is Mint Macaron and Mossy Meadow. These are colors that are in the paper. to do just a little trimming and a little sticking. Put these on here. And then what I like to add is that, is it crystal accents? What is it called? Did I bring it? Oh, I forgot it, but I'll put it on later. Oh, can't stick my finger to this. And then one over here. Gotta trim these up. You don't need all of this, because it'll make it too big to fit on the card. So you just trim off a little. And then you put them on here. I'm going to put a large glue dot, or not glue dot, but dimensional in the middle. And that's all I stuck my flower on the first card down with, just one dimensional, and it's holding it just fine. All right. First, I'm going to put this layer on. Okay, so I have a piece of that foam. You know, you can get it at any craft store. And I'm going to cut it at just under, let's see, about 3 13/16, almost 3 7/8, and then at 5, ooh, just about 5 1/8. And then this just, once you cut it, you can just pull off the excess. There you go. Now I do like to mount this with Stampin' Seal rather than glue. That's my preference, although it gets caught up sometimes. Just little 3 strips, and then I'm gonna lay this down and pop my Stampin' Seal. Oops, this is a little too long. Alright, if it's that's where you start at the top. If it's a little too long, you can trim it off. There we go. Boom, that's done. Put a little more, and that's enough. You don't have to have it all the way to the bottom. One thing about the Stampin' Seal is you have to keep this top edge clean, or else it backs up on itself and catches up, and then becomes really annoying. I mean, I love its strength. Its holding power is really good, but but I think this is common with all of these tape runners. They all tend to do that. There's no perfect tape runner, no perfect glue. We all have our preferences. All right, here we go. Okay, this is going to go on the front of this Blushing Bride card base. I like to start at the top. Make sure I'm where I want to be. Because once this goes down, it's done. All right, that's it. We're ready for the flower. Flower is going to go right here, kind of in the corner. There we go. Put some glue on the joy, and I like to start with the Y and work my way backwards, because that way I get things in the right place. Always start with the last letter if you're doing something like this. See, this is not sticking very well because of the Wink of Stella on there. Probably should have waited to put it on after I stuck it down, but let's give it a try. See if we can get it in place here. There we go. And if you have a little excess glue come out, you just pick it up with your tool. Alright, here's the O. Alright. So, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'd love to have you follow me. Also, you can subscribe to my blog. On my blog, Tea and Stamps, there's a banner above my picture where you can just put your email in, and what'll happen is then all my blog posts, when I post them, they will come directly to your email. There we go. Oh, now time for some gems. Here we go. And I'm using the opal rounds. Those are so pretty, and they have a touch of pink in there, and that's just picks that up. So I'm sticking a big one in the middle, and then some of the smaller ones on the card. Just 3, that's all we need. All right, and what I'll do later is put some crystal effects on the leaves, on these little buds. I did that here. I don't know if you can see it, but I used the fine tip glue because it'll stand up, and look at that. It makes it look 3-dimensional on there. The little balls there. Alrighty, folks, this is it. This is my pink poinsettia Christmas card for today. Let me get this out of the way. Here you go. I think they're absolutely stunning. Alrighty. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be happy to help you out. I'm Kathy Peck, Wichita Falls, Texas. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.